Welcome back. Bombshell final report on COVID was released on Monday, and with a Trump DOJ coming in, Tony Fauci ought to be very nervous tonight. The big finding, available evidence suggests a lab leak may be the most likely scenario. Seems pretty obvious at this point, though. And the U.S. NIH, National Institutes of Health, funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Tony Fauci funded the creation of a virus that killed millions, sending your money to an adversary and then covering it all up, labeling anybody who called out the truth a conspiracy theorist. And it wasn't just House Republicans that were looking into this. The select subcommittee discovered DOJ was investigating the origins of COVID-19. Specific details of the investigation are unknown, but based on documents, it looks like DOJ's investigation involves EcoHealth's role in the COVID-19 pandemic. EcoHealth is that nonprofit run by Peter Daszak. Fauci sent your money to Daszak. Daszak sent your money to China. China created a virus that killed millions of people and decimated our lives for a couple of years. Then in February 2021, Daszak, part of a World Health Organization investigative team, another great organization, found that the lab leak was extremely unlikely. The cover-up had begun. Here at home, Fauci was saying exactly the same on television, even though they both knew this thing came from a lab, and yeah, we funded it. Congressman Brad Wenstrup is the chairman of the COVID subcommittee, and he joins us now. And, sir, it's good to have you on. I know I go further than your report does, but to me, it's very obvious. I guess my first question is your committee going to be sending any criminal referrals, possibly, with a new attorney general, a new government coming in January?
Yeah, actually, we have already done that. In particular with some of the commentary and comments that Governor Cuomo made concerning the nursing home debacle and the subsequent actions in New York. But, Peter Daszak, who you mentioned from EcoHealth Alliance, is currently being under investigation to be debarred, not only EcoHealth Alliance, but him, meaning he'll never get any more federal money. But you're right. Look, if nothing else, we brought the technology to China that's able to create deadly viruses. There's no doubt about it. And China has publicly been talking about bioweapons, for example, using coronaviruses. They've written books about it. All the forensics go towards the lab. I don't know that it was intentional at this time. It was, I think, accidental, but that doesn't mean someday it wasn't going to be. And so we have a system in place where grants are going out the door, your taxpayer dollars going out the door to an agency that Dr. Fauci said he doesn't really decide if it should go out or not. An advisory board does. He just signs it. And then we said, well, they weren't complying with the grant and the reporting that they were supposed to be doing. I said, who's looking out for that? He goes, oh, that's over in compliance. I have nothing to do with it. And I said, what about oversight of dangerous research in a lab in an adversarial nation? He goes, I wouldn't even know how to do that. Those are the types of things we have got to change, and that's in our report. Tomorrow, actually, we'll be adding to the report our recommendations.
I don't believe Fauci when he says he had no idea. I personally think he had every indication that that's what was happening to it, because we know how disappointed he was when we took away the ability to do this kind of research in the United States. So it just feels like we deserve somebody has to be held accountable for the fact that millions of people died and we had a plague,
And that's the other thing, is I haven't seen remorse from anybody that's even happened. It's like, oh, lives are expendable. And you go back to 2011, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Collins praising gain-of-function research.
Yes.
2012, in an interview, Dr. Fauci, he's asked in an interview, aren't you worried about it getting out of a lab and creating a pandemic? And he said, oh, I think the benefits outweigh the risk. Well, tell me what those are. Because quite frankly, my conclusion at this point, no more gain-of-function research. If you want to get some predictability on viruses, we can do this through AI.
Yeah, I don't believe for a second that Fauci didn't know where that money was going and what it was doing. And then it all blew up in his face. The cover-up began. To me, I feel like this. I feel like it's criminal. I feel like it's one of the worst crimes against humanity in the history of the world.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And then, to me, I've been asked the question, well, what's your biggest takeaway from this? I say, well, you can look at all the things we covered in 520 pages in this report: fraud, the economy, lockdowns, etc. But I would tell you, there's a cover-up by China, there was a cover-up within our government, and there was a cover-up by international scientists who do gain-of-function research. They rely on grant money, and so they wanted to put this to bed and say it came from nature. And on the very day that Dr. Fauci touted that report, Proximal Origins, they said, oh, these scientists said it came from nature. He didn't say that he put this group together. And on the very same day, one of the authors said in an email that we got, that this thing, we still can't rule out being engineered. And from the very beginning, they said it was engineered. And one even said, it's my focus to disprove the lab leak theory. That's real scientific, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they've lied, they've covered up, and I hope with Pam Bondi coming in that they're very nervous and maybe something changes, because I don't buy any of this from him at all. Congressman, thank you so much for the report and for the hard work. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.